How's it? I realized that the video that I recorded at the store didn't send. When I got home, I checked and it wasn't up online. So here I am. It's the same thing though, just not in the office. Make sure we're in tune. We've got a high G, a C, E, and an A. As I was talking about, these spider exercises, we use our first finger. Go to the first fret here and we play the first fret. Make sure it's not on the middle, but it's in between. Never want to swim on the shore. You want to swim in the ocean. Put our first finger right here. Second finger on the second fret. Third fret. Fourth fret. You want to keep all the fingers on there. And each one of those doesn't have to be pressed down hard. But when you get to the last one, you don't want to lift your fingers off. What this does, it keeps all these fingies close to the fretboard, yeah? So when we start doing these these spider exercise up, the lesson is to move your finger like that to the next string and go while keeping close. And a good way to keep the string that you just played from not muting is to put your thumb somewhere near it, or do a palm mute. But thumb works too. When you get all the way up, try go down. Making sure to keep those fingers nice and close to the fretboard. Yeah. The idea of this is when you can tell yourself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. You can see all the different notes just for here. What you're doing is going up in half steps. These are diatones or minor seconds. What we do with scales like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, we just use whole steps and half tones, which means when you add two half tones together, it makes a major tone, which turns into a whole note or a half note. So what the rhythm for lesson 2 does, it emphasizes that. I'm going to go over that right now. Let's just take a chord that we know, like A major or G major. When I spell out G major has one sharp. It's F sharp because C has no sharps. C, D, E, F, G. My first sharp is G major, which has an F sharp. Well, A, B, C, D, F, G. F comes before G. So G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And when I play that, ironically, that note right before that resolution is an F sharp. And honestly, 1, 4, 5 are major. 2, 3, and 6 are minor, and 7 is diminished. And we'll get into that later. But what these spidey exercises do, if I end my fingers right there, there's only so many chords I can play with my finger right there. I could do a G7 or a B diminished. I could keep that finger there and put it here to get a C sus. I could keep that there and put it here to get a C double sus. I can also keep that finger there and put it down here to get a B flat major with a bar chord, or holding it like this. Either way. So what happens is your fingers will naturally fall to what chords feel comfortable without even having to pivot. You can see 4, 5, 6 examples. Oh, D minor. That's another really good example. So what I suggest is going through these spider exercises until you can get each note to be has the same duration, same length of time. What happens is there's only 12 half tones, semitones between our octaves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. What we do with those 12 tones is we take them and we put them in order. So by doing this, you don't have to actually know what any of these notes are. It just gets your fingers ready for that. That's why they're called spyders. They're for muscle memory. Lesson 2, taking the D major and using this. 1, 2, 3, 4. When I'm playing this, I'm only accenting the first 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a whole tone. It's worth 4 beats. When I do a half of that, a half note, I'm still going to play 2 half notes to fill the void of those 4 beats, but I'm going to count it as 4 as well and play on the 1 and 3. So a whole tone would be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. See how I'm playing twice as many as I did for the first one? First one I just played 1, but I kept my hand going. When you go slow enough, you can go through all of them. With the G major, we've got a G, A, B, C, D. get rid of my 2 and my 4, and I've got my 1, 3, and my 5. That's a G, a B, and a D. If it was a G minor, it would have a melancholy minorish feel, very cool undertones. That makes it a minor third rather than a major third from the G. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Each one of those are composed of half steps that we worked on, but we utilize them through spider exercises. So lesson 1 teaches you how just to play them without knowing what they are. And lesson 2, eventually, when you see that G major is a triad built out of G, A, B, C, D, those are the 5 notes, which are super important. Then we've got our 1, 3, 5, which makes triads, and then we're able to add on. One of the things we talked about at the end was how C major can have a C major 7 and a C dominant 7, but you could also play the C major in a full bar chord. You could play the C7 in a full bar as well. Each one of these has this different importance when you're doing right hand rhythm. So lesson 2 takes easy, simpler chords and shows you how to move between them. Start slow, all with one chord, get the rhythm exercise down, and then incorporate your switch between teeter-totter. There's a pinky off the fretboard for the G, B, and D. I'm going to take off the D. I'm going to put the B where the D was, the G where the B was, and bring the pinky onto the fretboard for the 3rd fret G. Same note, different chord structures. Doing this in rhythm, what I'm doing right now are called quarters, so that comes after the half notes. So if we start with 1, 2, 3, 4, you had all that time to change that fingering. So in between here, stay with the quarters, or the whole notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, until you get them to come out. And you're not losing times. What I'm showing you is, like, basically if you were to go to it and then not miss the 1 and go, and not be quite on the right notes, keep doing the whole tones. After you get the concept of just the do, 2, 3, 4, 1, switch, 2, 3, 4. When you do the half notes, your fingers will already be used to kind of switching between the two. Now just a teeny bit faster. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it takes that 1 layer effect. 2, 3. It takes the layer effect away to where you start putting the fingers down simultaneously at the same time. And the right hand subconsciously just keeps going, which is your rhythm, your metronome. So when you are doing, like, if I slow it down, it's a, I'm subdividing one of those beats, but I still have that back and forth 4, 4. So do that with any chord, you know. Your A major, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 and a 2 E and a 3 and a 4 E and a. That goes through the whole note, half note, quarter note, 8th note, 16th. The slower you go, the easier those back and forth ones are. So if you start your quarter off with, let's say, B major, uses the A major shape in second fingering and scoots it up. B flat, B. Also, that's what your C is. Because that's your E, and these are your 2 C's. This is now your new G. So with the B, what I like to do to see what the best place to play is play that A shape, but keep the B there. Try it with a bar chord. Maybe try taking your 3rd off to get a minor. See how that feels. Try the 3 chord bar and then put your finger there for the minor. See how that feels, because these 2 are the same note. And then add the major again. See what feels comfortable to you. So with the B major here, if we did that exercise, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, down, 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 up, 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 down, up. You, of course, can go faster than that, like, and then if you actually go faster than that, it would be like, but I can't do that. I haven't practiced the practice of practicing that. So there it falls short. When we go through this, the only thing I was trying to take hold of and enlighten us about in this first session was that chords that just have majors, they lackluster. And if you put minors in place of the second, the third, and the sixth, it gives it substance. C major goes to D minor. D minor goes to E minor. E minor goes to F major. F major goes to G major. A major goes to, G major goes to A minor. A minor goes to B diminished. And it resolves back to C. Feasibly, it might be a little weird to hear that, but when you see it this way, if I had a whole step from C, this open note, the thick one, to my second fret, where it feels comfortable for my second finger because of our spider exercises, the next place I could go is up to the E. And after the E, I have an F. And after the F, I skip a fret and a finger, and I go to the third finger because it feels comfy for the G. I don't go up to the A here, but I hit the open A here, and then I play the B here, and then I resolve that half step to a C. I in total have a whole step from C to D, a whole tone from D to E, open E, a half step from open E to the first fret for the F, E, F, a whole step past F sharp to G. G doesn't go up here, it goes to the open A. A goes to a B because that's another whole step, and then a half step. So in total, I have whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. That's a major scale, an Ionian scale. And we'll touch on that next week, but that works out that if you take away that first note, the C, the open C, and play the second note, the D, and later put a C up top, it turns out, or a D up top, another one, it turns out that turns into the next mode and the next mode and next mode, so on and so forth, when you drop one of those whole step, half step, whole step, half step. Good example, here's Lydian. If I change whole step, half step, and start with that whole step, I just find myself doing this cadence. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, which gives me a whole step from C to D, a whole step from D to E, a whole step from E to F, a half step from F to G, a whole step from G to A whole step from A to B, and a half step from B to C. It changes the placement of the original code. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. 2 whole steps, half step, 3 whole steps, half step. That's major. If you did it linearly, you would see any note that you start at. If you start at the second note here, it's a B, but you don't need to know that, and go a whole step, you'd have whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. The reason why that's important is when we're playing like C major, we go to like a diminished chord, half diminishing it to a the melody that could go underneath that would be like a and those notes are built out of the same notes that are in all of those chords, and you don't have to think about it because all we're really thinking about is where my fingers should be for that chord. And then the thing I'm going to turn you on to this next lesson is the half steps that in the C major, C, D, E, F, the 3 to 4, and the 7 to 1 or the 7 to 8, the resolution, are where the magic happens. I'm so much looking forward to seeing you this next Saturday. If not this next Saturday, next Tuesday or Wednesday before you get out of here. These lessons will be the foundation, I do believe, under any type of music instruction. What these do are make the muscle memories stick. When you have these 4 fingers and you go to the 5th fret, you'll be using your first finger to do this 5th fret again. Once you do this 5th fret again, those 4 same fingerings will happen. And then after the 5th, you'll scoot all the way past the 5, 6, 7, 8, up to the 9. Guess where the 9 goes? 9, 10, and 12. That completes the circle. If if I did all of these all the way up, goes through every single note on a fretboard. Honestly, when we pick up instruments, this is the way we test to see if the frets are good, that if anything doesn't fret out. It just so happens to be a wonderful finger exercise to get rid of the awkwardness of playing all the notes or even knowing what they are. Work on lesson 1, finger spider exercises. Work on lesson 2, taking the chords we know, using the rhythm of keeping this going, trying whole tones, half notes, quarter notes, and then trying eighth notes and 16 notes if you can. The slower you start the whole notes, the easier the 16 notes are, as we talked about in practice. Do it with all your chords. Your C major, your D major, your C major, your C minor, your D major, your D minor, your E major, your E minor, your F major. Here comes your F minor. Right? F minor. And you could also play that in 2 different fingers. I find that one to be a lot easier. But that works as well. Doesn't matter which one you do. F minor, G major, G minor, A major, A minor, B major, B minor, and then C major again. What you'll find is, like I was telling you, if you could find the 5th in any chord and make it a 7th chord, so in the key of C, it's a G. C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major. If you make that G major, not a major 7th, but a dominant 7th, that is the diminished as the resolution 7th chord. So let's try it in the key of G. G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, F sharp diminish, and then a G major. You notice that when I was in G, G, A, B, C, D, I took that D and turned it into a G, not a G, a D7, which is my 5th, but it's a 7th chord, not just the regular D whole major, D, F sharp, A. I had a D, I left out, and I incorporated the C. That's what changed it for us. Anywho, I really enjoyed seeing you. I'm looking forward to doing another time. I hope that this worked out for you. Put any questions you have in the comment section below and practice those spideys and try playing a couple of those in rhythm with lesson 2. Aloha.